Hello, and welcome to another episode of Intune.training, the place to learn how to use Microsoft Intune, the Steve and Adam Show with Steve and Adam. What's up, buddy?
Hello.
Hey, dude.
Not much, buddy. Yourself? How's everything going?
Just dodging the rain, trying to enjoy the summer over here. How's the
Enjoying
winter
the
going
4th of
over
July
there?
fireworks.
Oh, we're not. Yes, most definitely, yes.
Just to take the video.
Freedom, baby, freedom.
Yeah, and then your question about winter over here. It's dry, cold but dry, and I'm going to use the parentheses cold because cold over here is nothing like cold over there, but that's a completely different conversation.
Well, you guys in the upside down world over there do things differently anyway, so who knows?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So speaking of doing things differently, let's talk about some crazy things.
Okay.
Androids.
Yes.
So they are these humanoid like creatures that you ever see that movie Not Quite Human?
Yes.
With like Alan Thicke or whatever. It was such a good movie. He made his own son. He like wanted a son, and so he made an android.
All I can hear is Weird Science.
Yeah, but Not Quite Human. And then there was a sequel, still Not Quite Human. It's even better. It's so good.
Anyway,
yeah,
I don't think they want to hear our reviews of movies.
Right, we're not talking about those androids. We're talking about Android phones and other Android-like devices. Android operating system, in fact. And how in a corporate environment you may have some Androids in production and you may want to secure them. Because there's things like the Google Play Store and stuff on them, and you can do a whole lot more crazy things on Androids than you ever could on an iOS device. And I think if you ever needed to have a antivirus on a phone, an Android would be a great place to start.
Yes. Well, let's be very clear. The risks exist the same on Android as iOS. But it still just is important to have Defender there. One of the big difference between, and I'm going to put my ranty pants on here. All of you admins out there that are sitting there and saying, "Oh, I'm not running Android in my environment." Why not? That's just dumb. If your customer or if your end users want to use Android devices, if they want to use iOS devices, that's their choice. You as an IT admin just need to be able to sit there and make sure that getting access to corporate data is secure. And that's part of why we're doing this session. So obviously look at what we've done previously where we talked about work profiles, where Ben and I jumped on and we set up a video on work profiles. But in this scenario, we're going to be talking about using Defender in work profiles. And I swear I'll stop being ranty, but
no, you won't.
The number of IT admins I talk to where they're like, "Oh yeah, you know what? I don't have Android in my environment." It's like, what do you mean? I can guarantee you people in your organization want to use Android. Yeah, but we just don't support it. Why not? Meet your customers where they are.
Well, and I think there's kind of maybe a difference between so all of our corporate like personal mobile devices are all iOS. But we have a ton of Android all in our manufacturing side of things. So all of our manufacturing is Android because we can meet the safety specs easier. You can buy Class 1 Div 2 or they have the European versions of that I don't know the names of. But, the regulatory body talks about the incendiary things and all that fun stuff. It's easier to get Android devices that can do those things in different form factors than it is to get iOS devices. Now, iOS is coming along. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but there's really good use cases around using Android. So yeah, as an organization, you should be prepared to be able to support them if the need arises. So here we are. We're going to try to help you support them because surely you've got a need. All right. So Steve, you have an Android over there.
Yes.
And you've got it. We've got it on
the into company portal because I should have done it beforehand, but I'm going to do it now.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to go in to the Android policies in the Intune portal, and going to go set up a new configuration profile.
Why?
Well, because we want to configure how Defender. I don't know. Is there a profile for this?
It's not under configuration profiles. It's under application.
It's in the application. Yeah,
Yep.
it is, isn't it? See,
Yep.
I knew you were going to get me here. Okay. So there are two, at a minimum, there are two things we need to do. I'm just making this up.
We're having a bit of fun here because I'm coming in. Adam's coming in a little bit cold on this intentionally. So what we've done is we've published into the store from the managed Google Play Store. There's plenty of docs on how to do that. We're not going to go through that in this video, but basically we've published the app. We're going to click on the Microsoft Defender app, and then from here we're going to assign it. So being very clear, this is a managed store app because we get more controls over it. Then we're going to assign it. We're going to make it required. Yeah, sure. No, because we're not using Pixel. We're using the Samsung, so we don't need a filter.
Okay. Well, it'll only target our.
Yeah, we'll only target Android devices, right?
But if you cared, you could do more and build groups and all that sort of stuff. But
exactly, and you should do more than just that. But
it's demo. Plow
as always, do
make
the
it
right
up as we
thing.
go.
We're sitting here and we're using our environment, right? So then the next part that we're going to do is application or app configuration policy. And in here, we already have our iOS Defender for Endpoint policy. So we're going to add one for Android.
Hint, hint. There may be a video.
If you
we don't know which order it's going to come out. Maybe it already has come out.
iOS has definitely come out before this one.
Okay. Fair.
So we're going to call this Android, and then we're going to put in Defender, and then we're going to hit the emoji, and we're going to put a little padlock in there because we're awesome.
No, we're not.
We're going to select Android. So this is the interesting one. We can set it to...
What do these things mean, Steve?
It's awesome. So the one that we're using today is personally owned work profile only. But realistically, this profile you want to deploy to all profile types because fully managed means that me as an IT admin, I have to deploy every application to that device. Dedicated is typically going to be your kiosk devices. Think or anything that's sitting on and displaying a board or things like that.
Okay. Yeah, so this will pick up all of the different types.
Yep.
And then in order for this to work, to be able to do this select app, you have to have added the app into your store in order to be able to use it.
Correct.
And so we're wanting to tell it that we want to do Defender for the Google Play and manage Google Play Store, which because we're already doing Android, it already knows to filter the context of all the apps in the list.
Exactly.
Okay. So then we're going to use the configuration designer.
No.
XML, JSON.
Oh, no, we're definitely going to use the configuration designer. Sorry, I do apologize.
Okay, there we go. Oh, that's
and
neat.
Then,
no, those weren't there a second ago.
They weren't.
And then I clicked on one.
Yep, because it's provided you the template, and then it's going, hey, this is what you want to go and use.
Okay, neat. Okay.
Yep. But realistically, what we're looking at in here, let me bring it up. We want to make sure that we have automatic remediation of network protection alerts is enabled. So it's one. Yep. Enable TVM, so threat and vulnerability management, policy for personal profile. So this is where you can force your end users to have TVM enabled in their personal profile as well as their work profile. Very, very important.
Threat and vulnerability management, TVM.
Correct. And then we're going to do anti-phishing.
I was trying to make this more readable, but it's impossible because you can't make that bigger over there.
Anyway,
so,
yes.
All right.
So what you'll see in here, there's a whole heap of extra stuff, but the one that's most important is Microsoft Defender in personal profile. And we want to make sure that that is set to 0.
Oh, come on. All right. So the default. All right.
Yes. So you can set it to 1 and we'll force it in there. You can leave it out. It's realistically, you want Defender in the personal profile, but it comes down to if I do that and I force that into their personal profile, are they going to be unhappy with me? Do I have to deal with regulations? But when
because you do end up with some potential web filtering content that could come back into reporting, and you might not want to do web filter content.
Yeah, you may not want to see what your employees are looking at.
How to get your boss fired. Okay. So the VPN piece here, what is this? Is this enabling the VPN feature where in order to use the web, you have to have VPN enabled for this?
Yeah, it's basically a loopback so it can be inspected.
Okay. So do we want that? Do we want to force that on or not?
Yes, we want that on.
Because I believe when we did it on the iOS, we did not use that.
Yeah. But it's your choice, right? But at the end of the day, you can do a whole heap.
So if you're curious about what all these other settings do, feel free to go and Google it and look it up yourself. And I think this probably takes you to the right place.
So it's just going to be the generic one. It's not going to be for Defender.
Okay. Well, somewhere there's a documentation that's going to list through all the Defender configuration options that you've got. So for the purposes of demo, we're just trying to show you that this is possible and that's able to do this. So enable users to connect this app across the work and personal profiles.
So it's consistent. So by default, you will only be able to open it in the work profile, not the personal profile. But if you turn this on, you'll see it in both work and personal. So this is more when you're doing things like you want to make sure a consistent experience between both. You want to be more secure, etc., etc.
So do we want to enable it? Do we care?
Sure. Let's do it.
Sure. Okay, great. All right, and we'll assign it to all devices.
Yes, because we're awesome and we're doing the wrong thing.
All right. Create. Okay, so we've got the profile, or they got the policy created. We've got the app deployed, and you've got a phone.
Yep. So the other thing that we need to look at, Adam, and this is unique with the work profile, is if we go on the left-hand side to devices, and we go to Android, and we want to do compliance policies. What you'll see in here is there will be a compliance policy for Android personally owned work profile. We click on that and we go to properties. My device is currently failing because we have a requirement for Microsoft Defender for Endpoint to be at low. So if we change that to not required or not configured, then I would have a compliant device. But right now, my device is non-compliant and it's sitting there and going, hey, you need to go and do stuff in Defender. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So this is where you can put some real cool control around that. So you're not getting access to corporate resources without Defender. So it's like, hey, here's your work profile, but we also want to make sure you have Defender on there. We're going to sit there and control it.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, so you don't get access to corporate resources until you do that. So I'm going to go across to my awesome phone.
Sorry, switch back for a moment. Okay, so in our iOS video, we talked through this a little bit, but just wanted to go double check this. Where is it? Okay, so the Microsoft Defender for Endpoint down here.
Yes.
So there are some settings here that are important to have configured in order to make sure that your devices are getting onboarded into the Defender for Endpoint. So this is the one that's going to require the Defender for Endpoint license, which is the E3 or E5, or the Defender for Endpoint standalone license in order to use this stuff. So we've previously covered this stuff before, but just for the context of this video, make sure that you do go visit this and make sure that you've got some of this stuff turned on. So specifically,
and if you also scroll down as well.
Okay, so specifically, you want to make sure that this guy is turned on so that you can, in fact, apply Defender policies. And then we've got an Android policy here, and
so
then
it automatically registers, and then the application protection policies. So you can sit there and put controls around. It has to be secure. And then you can also start sitting there and saying, well, if it's non-responsive, then stop sharing data.
Yeah. And so then all of that information will get shared and pushed over into our into the
security.microsoft.com.
security.microsoft.com. And we'll see what that looks like.
Cool. So what you'll see here is if I hit on my device, I've registered it now. I only have this one device because we've cleaned it up. And it says, well, you still need to do update settings on this device because I have a requirement for a PIN. But it also says, you'll see here, that install and activate Defender to protect your devices. If you don't do that, you can't use it. So we just hit resolve. And it pops up and goes, hey, you need to sign in. It's like, but I shouldn't need to. So what that means is the profile still hasn't applied completely. So we're going to go back and we're going to go here and we're going to try and remember where we check device settings, because this should automatically go and sign in with that profile that we just created, because Defender automatically installed on this device. We didn't show that. It happened that quickly.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Right. I didn't have it on there. It just went, no, done. And you'll see here, it's got the badge and it says, yeah, successfully installed. It did it automatically. What you'll also note is you need to update your device passcode. Do you know why I need to update my device passcode? Because I don't have one.
Oh, well, you should.
We also have installed a certificate on here from previous demos. So if we go here and we're going to go, oh, hey, we still need to do this. Let's go and hit resolve. It's supposed to set up, but we're just going to set it up manually. Or do you want to wait? Might take a bit of time if we wait, based on our previous demos.
Oh, come on now. You should wait. You should wait.
All right, let's wait. While we're doing that, let's go and fix up our device passcode. We're going to set a PIN. I'm just going to quickly remove that.
1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Come on. If it needs 6, you just go 5 6.
And it needs to be at least 8 characters because that's 7. The new standard. Perfect. Yep. Done. Yeah, sure. No, I don't want to do that. Go away. All right, now we just bring that back up onto the screen. And now we're just sitting here and waiting for it to pick up their profile. So if we check over in the Intune portal on that device item, you'll see that we now have a personally owned web profile Android. And we click on that. What we should see appearing in here is under device configuration.
Wrong one.
And you'll see that
this is neither of them yet.
Correct. So these are existing profiles that we've previously deployed to the device. And we're just doing a profile setup now. So let me see if this has been resolved. Nope, still.
But we can see managed apps. Defender's there.
Yep, managed record. And it's installed. So this is just processing. Obviously, it's going to.
Yeah. Sorry, we looked in the wrong place. It's not a device configuration. It's an app configuration.
Okay, it's saying it's.
It says it's there. You might need to close the app and reopen it.
Done it. Let me do this. No, it still hasn't come through yet.
Well, try to sign in. It'll be all right.
And the nice thing is, even though we dropped the screen, I didn't actually get prompted for a password because it's automatically using the shared credential with the Authenticator app that's on the device. Well, sorry, the company portal app that's on the device, which handles it. So we're saying we need access to storage. We need access to the VPN setup. So that's the VPN setting that we had on there. We can display over other apps, permanent protection, so it may impact your battery, and we're going to send notifications. Sure, go bananas.
So, question: would this behave any differently? I mean, this is a work device.
This is a personal device.
Oh, it's a personal. Okay.
Yep.
So, if it was corporate, if it was enrolled as a corporate device, would the user have any say in any of this? Would they be asked?
You can say it so it doesn't, and this is where it just comes down to how you configure the profile.
Because, I mean, I'm looking at it saying, as a security tool, you don't want your user to be able to opt out and not do it. Well, now, obviously, you can tie controls to it.
Here's the thing, right? If they don't do it, the device, the defender isn't set up correctly and reporting correctly, so therefore the device is not compliant. So
yeah, sure. but what I'm saying is that so then your non-compliance is still driven by your user's willingness to do a thing versus, well, if it really matters, I want to be able to force it on regardless of what the user. Yeah, I don't want the user to have any say in it. So that's kind of where I'm headed.
Yeah, and this is where it's just a matter of saying yes or no to everything as it goes through.
Gotcha. But since it's on your personal device, really the deal there is if you don't do it, then it's a condition of it's your conditional access stuff, and things just won't work if you've got other things configured on the back end to prevent it.
That's right.
Require it basically.
Yeah.
Just like you say, you can't access corporate data without a certain passcode on your phone or without using MFA or whatever. Same deal, just another requirement in the process here.
Yep. So now you can see that my device is being protected and it has no threats, and I can do everything as you'd expect. So we have our app security, we have our web protection. So it goes and looks at all of your apps if there's any issues with those apps, if there's any bugs.
And so go open up a browser for a moment and just go to Google or whatever, Bing, just create some web traffic.
So we go here. I can't see Chrome.
It's right there.
Hidden. Sure, I accept. Yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah. No thanks. And we're going to go demo. Actually. Because that's where everybody should be going.
Well, they're already there if they're watching this.
One would hope. We don't want notifications. But here's the interesting thing: if we go back over here, if we go,
you should hit that. You should hit the bell. Ring the bell. Subscribe.
But the problem is, I'm not signed in. I am actually, so I should. But now, if we go over here, you can see that it's scanned 13 pages.
More things. Yeah.
Yep. Do you have, as an end user, visibility of what's been scanned? No. But if we go and look in the security portal, we would be able to see that. We're not going to because it probably hasn't synced yet, and we'll be sitting there and waiting for it to spin glass to check that.
Oh, come on now.
You can if you want, Adam.
It's probably already there, man.
All right, let's have a look.
Steve Android. Azure
sure
AD joined.
That's the name of the device?
No, but it's what it showed up under here. Is that what you named it?
I didn't name it anything.
What's it named on the naming of the thing? Yeah, when you named it internally.
Last seen 7th July. That was the one.
Yeah, hold on. I'm double checking here. Okay, so this is what it's called in here. And the ID.
It'll be in the hardware.
Got it. AO, that's you. Yep. There you go. All right, so let's see.
Now, if you get a timeline.
Is it loading or is it empty? All right,
it's loading.
Nothing.
Yeah, it still hasn't come through. Yeah.
But anyway,
that's because it's not fully synced yet.
Yep. Now, so I've never done this, but I assume that somewhere in here, so the web scanning stuff that we're doing and that setting that we configured on the tenant administration, I assume there are things and policies and stuff that we can deploy from here to impact what happens on the phone. So it's not just, we just set this stuff here, or it's not just stuff that you can configure in endpoint security. but it's actually things you would configure within this portal,
so.
right?
I'm pretty sure. I've not dug into that level, but by default, you want to scan it just for malicious content initially, not anything.
If you're watching this far and you want to leave a comment and tell us the answer to that question, I'll mail you some. Well, I don't know if I have stickers. I might have some stickers. I'll mail you something. So let us know the answer to the how do you what can you do with this now?
Yeah.
All right. So that's pretty much it. So at this point, it turns into your security team should know what to do from here. If you are the security team, then hopefully you know that there's some next steps here to be able to go in and manage and configure things. But the most important deal is you have just now. So if you watched our iOS video, if you've done this on Windows, now you've got your Android stuff covered. You are layering up security across all your devices. And the beautiful thing here is now with the security.microsoft.com portal, you get a holistic picture across your whole estate, regardless of the OS or device or whatever. You can just centrally report all this stuff together, take action, build out dashboards, whatever, things with this data. I'm just making stuff up. I don't know what you can actually do there, but it's all going to be one place.
And you can pipe it into Sentinel. This is where you as a security team have full visibility and more visibility of your estate, right? So it's about understanding your risks and mitigating them where needed. So obviously we can sit there and go, well, iPhone, Android, Mac OS, they're not going to get viruses. They've never had viruses. Like, that's incorrect. That's a fallacy. This is where it gives you the
still
ability.
Like to believe it, though.
Yeah, I know. You're still one of those admins that doesn't allow Mac OS in your environment, aren't you?
I mean, look, like I've never seen a virus on an iOS device. I've seen really sketchy stuff happening on Androids, though. So just saying. And you know, like it's the wild west on the Google Play Store versus the Apple Store, even though the Apple Store still has plenty of sketchy apps. They just aren't as
contest that statement.
Yeah, maybe
I think it's just as bad as each other. It's just that it's just been seen a lot more publicly in Android back originally when it started up. Maybe
that's fair. It's fair.
Because a lot of that's been fixed, right?
Cool. So the point being, if you have a perspective like me, you're probably wrong, and you should still deploy Defender because you're still vulnerable to things. And I think even the more important bit here is this isn't just about malicious apps or viruses. You saw we've got web inspection in there. That means that you can protect your people from going to malicious websites.
Yep.
And that's just as important as anything else, because you know, if you get a virus on your phone, okay, maybe it just makes your phone harder to use or something like that. But really what we're after here is your company data, protecting the identity, protecting your user's identity to prevent data theft, especially data theft that you are unaware of. It sneaks in, it's just sitting there. So all of this kind of stuff is helping you with that as well. So
exactly. And don't forget, your users are admins of their phones.
Mm-hmm. Do whatever they want.
Yep.
And to circle all the way very back to like season 1, episode 1, I believe, Steve made sure to point out that MDM doesn't stand for mobile device management. I mean, technically it does, but it's really mobile data management.
Yep.
So anyway,
we're going to protect your data.
Yeah. So that's the end of the demo. We did it.
Done.
Look at that.
Less than 30 minutes too.
Well, if we hang up now, it will be. Yep.
Yeah.
Well done, Steve. High five.
Yeah, high five.
Woo. All right, folks. Well, thanks for sticking with us. Hope you enjoyed this one. Go secure your devices. Click some buttons.
Indeed. Please do.
All right. Till next time. See ya.
Toodaloo.